Welcome. So this morning we are going to do pelvic floor, core. We're going to talk a lot about posture and how it relates to the pelvic floor, all in the context of yoga, of course. So let's begin in a comfortable position. I was just teaching a workshop this weekend, and one of the things I was saying to the students that I will say to you is, if you can't sit in a position where you're sitting right up on the front of your sits bones with your knees open, then you can prop your knees up, you can sit with your feet in front, you can sit with one leg out, or you can sit in hero with the blocks underneath of you like so. So it's really important for the pelvic floor that we actually find neutral pelvis. So that means you're not sitting back on your tailbone. So when you feel the area of your low back, you do have a small curve in your low back. You are not tucked under and flattened. So just want you to check that, because the pelvis holds all of our pelvic organs, and if the pelvis is not tipped correctly, then it puts a lot of strain on the pelvic floor and the organs. So find that spot and sit up tall. Close your eyes. And just begin that process of aligning the spine. So we already have settled into a position where our pelvis is neutral. Our hip bones are pointing forward. And then the rest of the spine kind of follows. We back our head up so that our ears are over top of our shoulders. We pull our shoulders back until they're over top of our hips. And then very importantly, we pull our ribs into a line as well. So for those of us that are sitting forward, it might mean pulling the front of your ribs down. If you have a bit of a tuck under with the tailbone, you may actually need to pull your ribs forward to help you sit upright. And then we just let our body settle. Take a big inhale through your nose. And just a releasing breath out through your nose. And then settle into a mindful breathing rhythm. Watching the whole breath from the time it passes into your nostrils, travels all the way down to the bottom of your lungs, and back out again. As your breath is traveling down into the bottom of your lungs, you're allowing your rib cage to expand like an umbrella. And as the breath passes back out, for this, we're just going to keep relaxed. We're not going to try and tighten or cinch anything up. Just let it release. Focusing on getting that really big, drawn-in breath. Activating your diaphragm and allowing the ribs to spread out. And again, big full breath in, ribs, waist, abdominals and pelvic floor all expanding and relaxing. And then for just a few rounds, we'll focus on the exhale breath. So we continue with that expanding inhale. And on the exhale, we begin that process of hugging the ribs back, knitting in the waist, and zipping up the pelvic floor. And then as you begin to breathe in, really focus on the releasing of the belly and the pelvic floor. So we're going to practice a lot more of this balanced contracting and releasing. Inhale is expanding, releasing, and the exhale is gently contracting and lifting. Do 2 more breaths like that. can begin to focus on the sound of your breath, constricting the back of your throat on the exhale. Just watching as our mind quiets down. Another thing that we can check when we're feeling stressed is the jaw. And there's been some studies that show that if we have a hypertonic or too tight of a pelvic floor, we've been working it too hard, or we're under a lot of stress, one of the symptoms is a tight, clenched jaw. So there you go. We think about the core muscles starting right at the throat, traveling all the way down. So you want to make sure your jaw and your throat are soft. And then we'll just begin to move in our seated cat and cow. So on your next breath in, allow your tail to tip up, your ribs to move forward, your chest to lift. And then on the breath on out, that's scooping the tail under, dropping the ribs and dropping the chin. Hi, Rudy. And then just keep moving on your breath. Maybe starting to increase that range of motion, leaning back a little further, squeezing the shoulder blades together a little more. Feels good to really be mindful of how our body and breath work together, and to wake up the body in a kind of slow way. To allow all the vertebrae on our spine to move, and all the muscles to contract and release. Let's do one more breath like that. I was telling my students on the weekend that one of the hardest things to do is to teach beginners, because their body awareness is so low for many people, really don't know what's going on in the back of their body. So this is one of the ways that we learn how to focus on what our body's actually doing in the moment. It's just simply paying attention. Next time you come back to neutral, we'll do a few little circles around the ribs, and as always, we're trying our best to just move the rib cage. It's definitely more challenging than moving the whole torso, but just moving the bottom rim of the rib cage, and maybe noticing what muscles you feel that in. I definitely feel that more in my low back if I just move my rib cage. Let's go the other direction. And sometimes it's these really sort of small, subtle movements that can really wake up our body awareness. And when you come back to center, we're just going to shake out our legs. So uncross, and we'll just shake them out. Roll out your ankles. Roll out your wrists. And then we're going to cross the opposite direction. So whatever you just did naturally, do the awkward way. We'll do a basic lateral stretch here, reaching up and over. And we can do this on breath, so inhaling as you reach up and exhaling as you reach over. And just keep going on your breath. So we're really lengthening the spine and then flexing the spine. Lengthening and flexing. And we are trying our best to stay on the same plane. So you're not leaning forward nor back. You're just folding as if you were still up against a wall. And the body is just sliding along the wall. The next time we come over to the left, we're going to hang out there for a moment, and then we'll come off of that plane a little bit by twisting the chest up, twisting the rib cage up a little, and at the same time reaching that hand as far over your head as you can. And then same on the other side, keeping both sits bones down and reaching. Coming back to center, both fingertips on the floor, lengthening your spine, especially your neck, And then just dropping your right ear to your right shoulder. And whatever you want to do here, of course. Moving the chin or bringing the right hand to the collarbone. Whatever feels good. Take that big breath. So even as you're thinking about your neck, we're still really noticing our spine is upright and we're breathing with the ribs moving. Let's come back to center and over to the other side. And then back to center. Roll your shoulder blades in big circles. And then let's go ahead and stretch our chest. Bring the hands behind you. I'm just going to turn sideways. And spin your fingertips away. So why do we spin our fingertips away? To open up our shoulders. So we're pulling the shoulder blades together and opening up the shoulders for this big chest stretch. And maybe tipping. So this is one of the times you can lift the rib cage up out of that neutral position. So this is a back bend to get that stretch across your chest. And then coming back into sitting. So we're going to come into, I'm totally spacing the name of it, seated staff. And so we're going to start to really think about the position of our body. So if you are sitting on something, you should be sitting on your sits bones. It's just if you're sitting on a towel or block, it's just your tailbone that's lifted. If you're not sitting on something, move the flesh out from underneath of your butt. And make sure you're sitting directly on the tips of your sits bones. And then extend your legs out as much as you can, pelvis width apart, toes up. And we're going to bring our hands right alongside of our rib cage, and we're basically going to try and sit up like a soldier, which is not easy to do. So for some of us, we really have to pull the front ribs down and then back the head up. Try and work on chin parallel, collarbone long. So we're trying to take out that arch in the back and or the flex in the spine. So staff pose is kind of a version of mountain, but sitting, of course, sitting is always harder. So back your head up, ears level. And we're just going to sit like a soldier for a moment and let our muscles kind of memorize this. So some of you, I think, can still pull your top ribs down or bottom ribs down a little. So you want to think about that egg cup rib cage stacked. Your core should be working pretty hard just to hold you in this position. Definitely your back is probably working. We're going to take a big breath here. So even leaving the ribs neutral, you can expand laterally without moving the ribs forward and back. So let's just do a few breaths like that. The whole time you may be feeling some fatigue in your low back or between your shoulder blades or your hip flexors. This is definitely a working position. Much more challenging for the body to sit upright than stand upright. Looks good, everyone. Last breath. And then release, soften your knees, and we're going to just fold to stretch the low back. I definitely feel that in my low back, sitting up like that. Just pull yourself forward and give your back a good stretch. You can let your head go. Take a big breath across your ribs. So there's another thing we've been practicing a lot is this big back breathing. Exaggerating the movement so you feel your ribs spreading the back of your rib cage open. Lots and lots of studies have shown that this mindful back breathing can get rid of people that have had chronic back pain for years and years and years. They end up healing their back just through big breathing. And then release, walk your hands back up. Sit yourself upright. Let's bring our feet wider than our mat so we can do those knee drops. You can support yourself with your hands, and then we're going to do that internal rotation here. We're dropping the knee. So if this feels really easy, just double check that your knees, you're in that 90-90 position when you drop the knee. All right? It's a little more challenging to get into the 90-90 position and get that knee down. And that way we're getting that full internal rotation here. which is one of the movements probably most of us don't do enough of. And now they're really noticing that the ability to have internal rotation affects the core. One more time. Sorry, I'm still recovering from that cold, so you can hear it in my throat. Come back to center. Put the soles of our feet together. If you're not sitting forward, you want to sit forward. We're going to do butterfly just to release the tension in the back. Hold on to your toes. Inhale, lengthen. Hinge from your hip as far forward as you can go. Trying to get your belly button as close to your heels as you can. And then we're going to release and let the head go. We'll take a few breaths here. Big, exaggerated breaths. And then tighten up your belly, lift up through the pelvic floor as you engage those muscles to roll yourself back up. Bring your knees together, and we're going to move over onto all fours and do thread the needle. So coming into tabletop, and we're going to do thread the needle with the hand on the ribs instead, at least for the first one. So make sure you're in your good tabletop with your wrist under your shoulders and your knees are under your hips, please. So right here, let's engage the ribs. Let's pull the front ribs down so you're not in like a lazy back. You've got your back really neutral. And let's see if we can keep that. Take your right hand to your rib cage, lengthen your spine, keep your ribs neutral, and rotate up to the right. So we're going to try our best to keep the spine neutral as we rotate. Stay here for a breath. Definitely a bigger twist. And then come back to center. We're going to do it one more time on this side. So again, tuck your front ribs in if they've dropped. Inhale and then exhale and rotate. Not a huge movement. It's definitely more of a working movement. And then come back to center. And we're going to switch. So make sure you take your hands under your shoulder. Again, you might need to tuck the tailbone down and the ribs, and then take that breath and twist. And back to center. Back your head up as well. We want the whole thing in line. Twist. And back to center. Bring your hand down. We'll do one with the arm now, so you'll notice that it's not as much work because a lot of the work is coming from the shoulder. Inhale, sweep your arm up. Doesn't quite feel as hard. And then this time we will thread all the way through and go all the way down onto the shoulder and the head. Use your free hand to push yourself back toward the back of your shoulder, back of your head. Take a couple of breaths. Come back to center. We'll do the same thing on this side. Left arm sweeping up, twisting the torso. And threading through all the way till you're down on your side, and push yourself back as if you were trying to get your collarbone vertical to the floor. And then come back to center. Let's come back into tabletop position. Spread your fingers, tuck your toes. Let's do a few cat and cows. Inhaling, allowing the belly to release, the rib cage to expand. Exhale, that exaggerated tuck, scooping the tail, scooping the belly, scooping the ribs, dropping the head. Keep going. So I've gone through all the range of motion. Exhale, hugging and lifting, zipping up. So let's focus both on the inhale, the expanding and relaxing of the belly and pelvic floor, and the exhale and contracting. So I was saying to my class on the weekend that, you know, for years and years and years, I've been helping you all strengthen your pelvic floor. But now we are all going to, myself included, start to work on the releasing phase as well. Because lots and lots of research coming out about many of the symptoms we think of as a weak pelvic floor, like leaking, any kind of pelvic pain for women, often has something to do with having too tight of a pelvic floor. This can also be for men. It can cause low back pain as well. So we're thinking about the two phases. Let's do it one more time. The contracting phase, the lifting phase, and then the fully relaxing phase as you send your sits bones up and back. Beautiful. And keeping that relaxed phase, untuck your toes, let's sit back in child's pose. This is one of the places that is a really great place to relax the belly and relax the pelvic floor, and take a big breath. And walk your hands forward. We're going to do that wave now. Again, we'll concentrate on form. So take a big inhale here. As you exhale, you're going to pull your bum off your heels. Scoop your tailbone under, knit your ribs, roll through cat. Let's stay in cat. Take another inhale right here. Expand your ribs. And then sit back on your exhale. So let's just do a couple like that halfway so we get that really big flexed spine. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, scoop your tail, scoop and lift up through the pelvic floor and belly. Knit your ribs and hold that there and take another breath. And then full relaxation as you sit back. We're going to do that full wave forward into small plank this time. So take a breath in. Exhale, scoop your tail, scoop your belly, tuck your ribs, roll through cat, and then keep moving forward until you're in small plank. Take a breath in and lift your head. On your breath out, let's lower to the floor, keeping the elbows very tightly against the ribs. Inhale, take your hands off it. Now tuck your chin down, get yourself back in line, and let's just do a few pulses here. Lifting the chest, lifting your low ribs. The stronger, of course, your back is, the more you're able to get your rib cage, the front of your rib cage, off the floor. But we don't want to feel any pinching in your low back. So if you are feeling pinching in your low back, you need to draw your tailbone down to get your pelvis neutral. It might mean that you've got your pelvis tipped up too much. So experiment with your tailbone to see what feels good in your back. Let's do one more. And then bring your hands back under your shoulders and push up, we're going to keep the toes tucked under for this, untucked. We're just going to push back into that small plank and then sit back onto our heels. We'll do that as a flow. Spread your fingers wide, take a breath in. Exhale, scoop your tail, roll through your spine. Inhale, move all the way forward till your shoulders are in front of your fingertips, head up. Exhale, lower to the floor, keep your ribs neutral. Inhale, cobra. You can keep the hands down or lift them up. It's up to you. And exhale back into small plank. So use your arms to push up and sit back. Let's do it again. Inhale. Exhale. So we're really articulating through the spine, through that cat pose. Inhale, small plank, chest and collarbone up. Exhale, slow and controlled. Use your triceps. Inhale, cobra with the hands down or hands up, your choice. And exhale, small plank. Use your arms to push back up onto your knees. Nice, everyone. Sit back. One more time. Inhale first. Exhale, scoop under, pull in, knit your ribs down. Roll forward, head up. Lower down, slow and controlled. Yeah, slow and controlled. Cobra, your choice. One more time, pushing up onto the knees, using our power in our arms. Good. And sitting back in child's pose. Just rock your hips here. Relax your belly. Relax your pelvic floor. Relax your face, your jaw. Spread your fingers, come onto your knees. We're going to come into downward dog. So tuck your toes under. And we're going to come into just pedaling out dog first. Shake out your head. Start to push your heels down and do whatever feels good here. Let's push the right heel down and just hang out here, bending the left knee quite a lot. See if we can get the heel all the way to the floor or close to the floor. And then switch, same thing. You might notice that you have more flexibility in one ankle than the other. Just pay attention. Let's come into crouching dog, pushing the chest as far back against the legs as you can. Heels are high. Armpits are wide open, and you're trying your best to get your ears right in between your biceps, right in between your arms. One more breath. We're going to walk our hands back to our feet, so do your best to use the strength of your arms to push. You keep your legs fairly still. Once you get to the back of the mat, halfway lift. Let's slide up and pull the head up, not only the head, but tuck the ribs down if you're lifting. and then fold. So we're going to try and come up into more of a flat back, well, neutral spine. So come on up and see if you can't get your ribs down and your shoulder blades flat, like you're standing up. Good. Again, that looks good, Colin. Let's do one more like that. Inhale, half lift. Let me see. Shoulder blades flat, but ribs are down. Nice, me too. Let's release. Let's walk all the way back out into our plank. All right, let's come into plank. So we were kind of just in our half plank, right? When we had that half lift. Back your head up with your shoulders. And now knit your front ribs down. Right away when you knit your front ribs down, you can be in half plank, there's no problem, right? But right away when you knit your ribs down, you should feel your abdominals have to kick right in to hold your ribs there. Looks very nice, everyone. One more breath. And then lift your hips back into down dog. Maybe you might need to adjust your feet so they're a bit closer to get into that upside down V. So you have that choice to do full dog with your knees relatively straight and your heels pushing down. The only ones that are doing that version is if you can keep your sits bones up to the ceiling. We're really taking care that we're not tucking the tailbone under. If you find you're tucking your tailbone under, come into crouching dog and get the sits bones spread right up to the ceiling so we have that arch in our low back. I'm gonna have a look at you guys. So Katerina, I think you could move your feet in closer and bend your knees more and get that little curve out of your back. There you go. So we don't want to practice round back here. That looks good, Joan. All right, everybody, from this nice half crouching dog, let's walk forward to the top of our mat. All the way forward. Slide your hands up. Let's move into that neutral spine, halfway lift. This is a great place to do this. It's against gravity, right? Bend your knees. Let's do it again. So we're practicing arranging our muscles with the pull of gravity. Very nice. Through repetition, your body will adapt. One more time. Pull it back. Head back. And release. Let's hang out here, grab our elbows, soften our knees so we can just let everything release. Release your jaw, your throat, and just woggle your head if that feels good. And I'm rocking side to side. You can join me or whatever feels nice. You're really paying attention to what is going on in your low back here. So we're not trying to stretch our hamstrings. I mean, you could if you want, but I'm trying to release my back. That's why I've got my knees so bent. So do what feels right for you. All of those halfway lifts are back extensions. That's back work. So this is a rest. And then release your elbows. Let's do that halfway lift again. Slide your hands up until you feel like your body is parallel to the floor. Nice. And release. Bend your knees. Reach your arms out. Let's push ourselves up through squat. And then bring the hands to the heart. Let's do a couple of those standing crunches, focusing mostly on the rib cage. Inhale, reach. As you're bringing your hands down midline, you're hugging your ribs back in line. And just notice that you didn't scoop your butt really hard, okay? Because we want to find that softness. Let's do it again. Inhale. As you exhale, knit your ribs down. Some of us also need to pull the tailbone down. Others do not. If you have a relatively flat back, don't scoop your tailbone under like that and flatten your back. You want to find soft. Inhale, reach. Exhale, ribs down, and some of us need the tailbone down. If you're already a butt clencher, you might actually need to lift your tailbone up. So let's just test. Put your hands on your hips, please. We have, I think, there's 20 or 25 of us in this class generally. Everybody's different. So if you have your hands on your hips, can you feel your low back naturally? Just put your hands on your low back. I just want you to know what your pelvis, your natural pelvis shape is. For some of us, we're actually scooped under too much. And it's our natural way to stand with the knees straight and the tail under, and your butt cheeks would be really tight. Can you feel? If you're a natural butt clencher, this is really bad for the pelvic floor because your pelvis is not level, right? And some of us, like me, are natural butt tippers, where there's a big curve in the back and the kind of the belly would hang forward. So we want to find neutral. So your hip bones would be facing directly forward. And your tailbone, ideally, would be facing down. Not under, not up. So get that. okay? So it depends on your natural stance how much you have to adjust to get that. We're not all the same. Inhale, reach up. So for me, my ribs lift really a lot when I do that. You might not have to pull your ribs down too much. Just notice. Exhale, bring yourself back into neutral. Because if I teach for my body, I might not be teaching you for your body. So pay attention. Inhale. And exhale, hug in. So you should feel that kind of gentle brace of the core, that canister. One more time. So lots of studies are starting to realize that more and more humans are working with their tailbone tucked under too much. This is a lot to do with because we sit too much for many of us, maybe not y'all. Let's do one more time. Inhale. I know everybody in this live class are pretty active. Exhale. And let's go. Inhale. If you're not at the top of the mat, step to the top. And let's come into that neutral as we exhale. I usually dive with my ribs forward. I'm going to try and keep my ribs down a bit more. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back with your right foot. Scooch your foot away. Let's do a few warm-ups here. Inhale into lunge. Exhale into a variation of pyramid, just to push that back heel down and straighten the front leg. And we'll just keep going a few of these just to warm up the big leg muscles. And then the next time you come into lunge, you're going to drop your back knee and we're going to climb up. So here's something else we're going to do slightly different today. Usually I'm asking you to fall as far forward as you can. Today we're going to try and do it with a little bit more neutral spine, okay? So you are going to lean forward to get that hip flexor, but we are going to try and draw our tailbone down and pull our ribs in. So it doesn't look as big, but if you can get your pelvis neutral here and pull your ribs back in, and then with your pelvis and ribs neutral, shift forward a bit if you have any availability. You may feel that a whole lot differently. And maybe with a little bit more stability and feeling that in your hip flexor and quad. And then maybe you can release your arms without letting the ribs pop into that back bend. Let's keep it strong. And bring your hands to your heart. And we're going to take a small twist. Actually, we're not going to use the hands here. We're going to take the hand to the outside of the knee. I'm going to be turning away from you. Lengthen, tuck the ribs, and do a twist here with your spine in a neutral position. So your head is stacked. I'm going to just turn so I can see you guys. Your head's, oh, that looks really good. So your head is still stacked, right? You're not leaning forward too much. You can come out of that lean a little tiny bit, knee to. Back yourself up and draw your tail down. Excellent. Come back out of that. That looks really good. And let's step into plank. Hands down. Plank pose. Here's our picky plank again. Back your ears up. Tuck your ribs in. Take a breath. And from your knees or from your toes, let's lower down. Elbows in. You can do small or high cobra, your choice. Coming back into down dog. Adjust your feet. Many of us coming into crouching dog, and those of us that are not, are lifting the sits bones up and tucking the front ribs in. Take a breath. Let's come into crouching dog here and look forward. You can walk, step, or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift, pull your head back. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, inhale, come up. Exhale, hug your ribs and get your pelvis back into that neutral bowl. Yes. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, dive down. Halfway lift. Big breath in. And fold. It's going to be the left foot that steps back now. Let's do a few of those lunges and pyramids. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Inhale. And exhale. Big lunge, much as you can in your front knee. And pyramid. Bending the front knee, staying here in lunge, scooching the back foot away, dropping the back knee, climbing up onto the front thigh. Let's do the same thing we did on the other side. Instead of leaning forward, We're gonna get that tailbone to point down to the floor. Rib cage to stack over the bowl of your pelvis. And then see how much you can lean forward. It's gonna feel much more restricted, at least for my body it is. But it's still a huge hip flexor stretch. For my body, I have to work hard not to pop my ribs. I should have been a gymnast. As a kid, I mean, not as an old lady. Well, maybe. All right, we're gonna work on that twist. Let's bring the arms up. If that made you pop your ribs, pay attention, bring them down again, bring the hands to the thigh, front hand to the outside of the knee. Lengthen and rotate. See if you can do this as if you were standing up tall. That looks good, Marilyn. Nice. Twist the other way, Judy. So you're twisting towards your front leg. Switch hands, switch hands. Yes. One more breath. Oh, that's a lot harder to do for me anyways. Come back up, out. Plank pose, take your plank, high or low. Just take that moment as you're settling into your plank to get your core muscles to do the work. Neck as well, that looks good. Take a breath from your knees to your toes. Use your whole body to lower down. Cobra, your choice. Down dog or child's pose, your choice. Figure out where you are in space and what you need today. Every day is different. What does that say? And every day we're brand new. Cells changing and regenerating. The only thing that stays the same is patterns. Breathe. Look to the top of your mat, come into your crouching dog, and step or jump or walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, inhale, come up. Exhale, back into neutral spine. Good, grab onto your block. We'll do sun salutation B variations with the block between the thighs. So now we're gonna work on that really hugging, lifting pelvic floor work. Make sure the block is just above your knees, not between your knees. Feet are pointing forward. That's another thing that's important for posture. And our whole body is connected from our feet to the top of our head. The alignment of your feet. Try and get them straight forward if you can, please. All right, chair. Just hang out here. Check your feet. So pick up your toes and then spread your toes and lay them flat on the floor. Try not to grip them hard, just flat on the floor. Lift your chest. And here's another place where we have to think about our tail. Draw your tail down until it's pointing to the back of your mat and not the back of your head. Oh yes, that looks good. And ribs. Can you pull your ribs in line if you're puckering them out? Nice. For my body type, this makes this about 20 times harder. Inhale, exhale, stand up and squeeze. Joan, move the block down a bit so your knees are not knocking together like that. So you want the block just above your knees, especially ladies, you don't want the knees to knock in, okay? Inhale, chair, same thing. This is the hard work, adjusting right here. Tuck your tail down so your pelvis is neutral. Tuck your front ribs in. And let's do some squeezes here. Only 5. Head nice in line, please. Inhale, exhale, squeeze the block and zip up your pelvic floor. Inhale. Exhale. Why are we concerned about the ribs? Keep going as I talk. Because if your ribs are out of line, you can't take a correct big breath. If you can't take a big breath, the diaphragm doesn't work well. And if your respiratory diaphragm can't contract hard, your pelvic floor can't work either, or relax. Squeeze one more time, squeeze. And then stand up. Whoo, hello legs. Good, okay. Let's get rid of that block for now. Come to the top of your mat if you're not. Inhale, chair. Right away, see if you can build that pattern. Tuck the ribs down and tailbone down. Nice. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Let's go into our plank. Move through this vinyasa on your knees or on your toes. Take the time to figure out where you are in space before you start to go to the floor. Even if that means you need to take 2 breaths. Cobra, up dog, whatever you're doing here. Down dog. So we're going to be stepping the right foot forward. For those of you in the room that can't step forward because of your hip or knee, come onto your knees now. Everybody else, right leg comes up. Exhale, look forward and step forward into lunge. Beautiful. Staying off the back knee, climbing up into lunge. So here we are in our lunge. Make sure your feet are pelvis width apart. You're not on a balance beam. And then let's come into neutral. So we're not coming into this back bend. Draw your tail down. Draw your ribs down. Take your hands to your rib cage, please. We're going to take a big, I'm going to turn so I can see you, a big lateral breath with the ribs down. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract toward the midline of your body. Yes? Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract. Let's add that fist of fire, that core contraction. Let's bring the arms up without letting the ribs lift too much. And then as we exhale, hug in. There's that contraction this way. Inhale. Exhale, hug in. So we're not moving so much. Inhale, try and stay steady. Exhale, hug in to the midline of your body. Yes, one more time. Inhale. Exhale, ribs down, tail down, belly tight. Inhale, we're releasing from here, so spread your fingers and drop your hands to the floor. Exhale, step back. Inhale, figure out if you're on your knees or your toes. Exhale, lower down halfway. Up dog or cobra is your big breath in. And down dog, or if you need a little break, child's pose is your breath out. And we're taking just a couple breaths here to get back into more focus. Breathing in and breathing out. If you've decided to take a moment in child's pose, you're just taking a break and then coming back into down dog. And now we have the same choice again, how you're stepping your left foot forward. You're either coming onto your knees or you're lifting your left leg up, looking forward to get the foot close to the left thumb. Yes, core strong. Come on up into your high lunge. Balancing on the ball of the back foot. Make sure your feet are not too close together. You're going to feel like you're going to fall. Let's get that position again. So we're just training the brain to adjust the torso. Yes. Inhale. Exhale. Hug in. So we're hugging in with the ribs. Inhale. Exhale, bring the hands back down and hug in with your ribs. Inhale. Exhale, hug in. So I know some of you are like me, like Colin for sure. You have to pay attention to your front ribs. Hug in. Some of you have that really natural big back bend. Inhale. Hug in. If you have that natural scooped under butt, don't scoop your butt under anymore. Inhale. Exhale, hug in. Let's lift up the pelvic floor. Let's do one more. Inhale. Exhale, hug in. Nice, everyone. Inhale, release the arms to the sky. Moving through. Plank. Oh, yeah. Breathing. Checking your form. Deciding if you're hovering and pushing back up into up dog or if you are going into child's pose after cobra. Your choice. Take a couple of breaths here. We're going to do another twist. So again, we're going to be stepping the right foot forward. Do what you have to do to get your right foot forward. Everybody who can step through is lifting the leg to step through. Right side. So we're going to have a choice here whether we're doing this on our back knee or whether they're staying up, but we're all kind of climbing up onto the front leg, bringing our head up and bringing our hands to our ribs again. So we're going to do this rotation with a neutral spine. We do that when we're sitting, but sometimes not so much when we're standing. So hands on the ribs, lengthen the spine, and rotate your ribs. So you're always rotating toward the front leg. Yes? Okay, can you keep your ribs down and bring your hands to your heart here in your rotation? Nice. And then lean your torso forward. It's still neutral. Tack your elbow to the outside of your front thigh. And keep your ribs in line. That looks so good. So lots more finicky here, lots more detailed alignment. Training the brain to keep us in good posture, even when we're moving around. One more breath. Bend your front knee more if you can. Just get that big hip stretch here while we're twisting. Nice. Unwind. You can either step back in down dog and just hang out there and rest, or move forward into your plank for another vinyasa. Your choice, how hard you want to work. Cobra or up dog. And down dog, so we can repeat on the other side. Left leg is coming up. Looking forward to step the foot through. You're on the back knee or you're off the back knee, but either way we're climbing up into lunge, low lunge or high lunge. We are drawing the tail down and the ribs in, hands on your ribs. Take a breath, back your head up over your shoulders and rotate. Use your muscles here. So we don't have the that tactile push with the elbow right now, so it's just your obliques that are twisting your torso. Very nice. Keep yourself in this rotated position, bring your hands to your heart. And then the spine stays long. We're just hinging at the hip to lean forward. We're not flexing at the spine. Good. Tack your elbow, lengthen your spine, and rotate deeper. Nice. Bend your front knee more if you have that power. Yes, it's going to make it harder. One more breath. And unwind. Your choice. You can either step back into child's pose, step back into down dog, or move forward into plank. Take your vinyasa, lowering down. I'll see you all in child's pose. In child's pose, you are completely relaxing. Open your knees more. And we're going to spend a bit of time here just relaxing the belly and releasing the pelvic floor in child's pose. Rock your hips gently. And then climb on up. So we're going to swing our legs around and come, so your feet are in front. And let's grab our strap before we go down and our block. Just put them beside your mat so you can reach them. And you can come down the easy way, or if you want to lower yourself down. Either way, we're going to come into knees to chest, and we're just going to roll around and massage our back. Take your knees apart and take one hand on each knee and just roll your knees. Let your head get heavy. So we're going to go through a phase of releasing stuff now. And we'll start with just a few contractions and then we will move into a release. So let's come into butterfly here on our back with the soles of your feet together and your knees open. Your hands on your belly. And close your eyes. Starting at the very top. Relax your face, your jaw. Soften your throat. Take a long, slow breath in and follow it all the way down to the bottom of your lungs. Let your belly and ribs expand. And then just keeping soft, just release your breath. Nothing hugging, nothing squeezing. Let's focus on relaxation of the belly and pelvic floor. Inhale, fully expand and relax. And exhale, just release. And then we're going to keep our feet in butterfly. So now if you have your heels too close to your torso, move your heels away, your feet away, because we're going to come into bridge from here. Bring your hands to the floor, palms facing down, and you can kind of walk your shoulder blades under your back a little bit before we lift our hips. We're going to lift our hips with the knees open. And we're going to hang out here and just do a few pulses. We're going to keep the knees open. So the feet are together and the knees are open. We're still in butterfly. Feet are together, knees are open. And we're just going to pulse. So just squeeze up and drop down about an inch. squeeze up. You're going to feel this in your inner thighs, drop down. So as you squeeze up, you're probably going to feel your glutes working, of course. As you drop your tailbone down an inch, relax everything. Push up and down, squeeze up and down, squeeze up and down. One more, squeeze up and down. Come all the way down. You're going to keep your right knee open. Now, if holding your knee open like this hurts, you can grab your block and place it under your knee. Keep the right knee open and bring the left knee into your chest and give it a good pull into your chest. We're going to do this as a big releasing breath. Relax your belly and pelvic floor. On the breath in, fully releasing, letting the right knee just hang there. And then switch. Left leg comes down, knee is open. Maybe you need to put a block there. We're going to pull the right knee into our chest. Just big, relaxing breath. And release. You're going to cross your right ankle over your left for figure 4. So bring the left knee in a bit. Bring the leg towards you. Give it a good hug. Take a breath. Check that your chin is neutral, please. And then I'm going to offer this twist from here. So I'm going to turn so you can see me if you need to. So you're going to keep the ankle crossed. Bring your arms out to brace you on either side in wings. You're going to drop your left foot and you're going to drop your right foot over to the left in a twist. If you can get the right foot all the way down onto the floor, it's okay that your hips are lifting, right? We're going to twist, chest is facing the ceiling and your hips are kind of facing to the side. This is also a big hip stretch. If that's too much, you can just stack your knees. Try and keep, if it's not enough, if you're not feeling this in your hip, try and pull the right knee toward the ceiling and you're going to feel that in your hip. And then let the knee release, come back to center. We're going to do the other way now, crossing the left over the right. For figure 4, any version that you want to do, keeping the head neutral, you can hold the back leg. If you can't grab the back leg, you can do it with a strap, or you can keep your foot on the floor. It's all good. If you're very flexible, you might be grabbing onto your shin. Just check your spine, please. Check your neck. A couple breaths. And then go ahead and drop the foot, open your arms so they're out of your way. And you might pick yourself up a little, move yourself to the left as you drop your left, move yourself to the right, or whatever that is. I can't, my brain is having a meltdown at the moment. Drop your left foot to the floor and do your best to keep your shoulders on the floor for this one. Your left hip is probably way up off the floor. We're in a twist. One more big breath. And then maybe uncross the ankle first. Come back to center. Grab your block. We're going to do a restorative bridge. So you're going to take the block underneath your pelvis. Not on the second side. Let's all just do it on the low side, okay? Just on the lowest side. Make sure it's under your sacrum. And then we're going to walk our feet wide or wider than our mat. And drop your knees together. So we're doing internal rotation here on purpose, my friends. Your knees are bent, your feet are on the floor wider than your mat, and your knees are dropping in. We're doing this for a particular reason, to release the pelvic floor and to stretch the psoas. You might feel it in your low back. Take a really big breath. Let your rib cage fully expand. And on the exhale, no contracting, just releasing. Soft face and throat. Big expanding rib cage. And fully relaxed belly, glutes, and pelvic floor. Take 2 more breaths here. Everything soft. And then very gently start to heel toe your feet together. So bring your knees open, heel toe your feet. And I always ask you to like think about your body before you lift your hips, because it can be a kind of a jarring movement. So let your brain know you're about to lift your hips up, tighten your belly, and lift your hips to clear the block out of the way. And slowly roll back down. Last time, we're just going to bring both knees into our chest. You can keep the knees open and just rock from side to side, almost like kind of a gentler version of Happy Baby. The knees open. And then we're coming into our final rest here. So lying down on your mat, finding your comfortable, fully relaxed position. Letting your head get heavy. And again, checking that your face and your jaw and your throat are soft. Finally relaxing completely through the belly and ribs, low back and hips, all the way down to your heels. Keep your awareness watching your natural breath in and out. Allowing our body to rest and restore. Ribs expanding on your inhale. Everything releasing on the exhale. Take a big inhale. And releasing, exhale. Begin to move your fingers and your toes. And gently, keeping your head heavy, just gently rock your head from side to side. And then go ahead and reach your arms over your head to give yourself a big stretch. And slowly roll onto your right side, keeping your head and neck really relaxed as you bring yourself back up. Keeping your eyes soft or closed as you sit yourself back up and bring your hands together in front of your heart. And let's, for the last time, maybe hopefully not the last time today, but let's, for the last time in this practice, stack our spine. Ribs over hips, shoulders over ribs, ears over shoulders. Take an expanding umbrella breath here. And a soft releasing breath out. Namaste. Thank you very much.